discussion, is it? So let's hear what you would say. Kirsty.
First we have Audrey, and she's on line 4.
Audrey, good morning.
Good morning.
So, would you tell a child?
No. The doctors told my child that she had aplastic anemia. It made her very aggressive. She was 10, made her very aggressive. She did go into remission because we did alternative medicine. Yeah. But then she got one day at a time. She was very dangerous, living life very out of control.
Right.
No, I think if she didn't know that she was ill, dying, I think she would have been a much sweeter child, though she was sweet, but she was very aggressive. And when the doctors used to come in, they used to say, this antibiotic is very expensive, to say, well, you're lucky to have it. And she would say, well, I'm worth it.
Well, I have to say, Audrey, under those kind of circumstances, I would have had great difficulty holding myself back from letting the medical people know what I think. I mean, how dare they say that? If I was that girl, I would be very aggressive too. I think your daughter was right to be angry.
How do you cope with knowing about the possibility of your death when you've only just begun to understand what it means to be alive? And I think, you know, if Rachel in this story had asked a direct question and her mother had continually denied it, then that would have been their relationship was all wrong. But according to Jeanette, Rachel didn't ask until very close to her death, and she actually said,
Maybe she felt
dying.
her mum couldn't handle it, and she spent her last year of her life not being able to express herself in the way she wanted to, because she was so mindful of her mother's feelings, because she felt her mother was being so overly protective, and she felt she could understand the love that was behind this, but
possibly,
you know,
it is a taboo, isn't it, even in families?
Also, on the flip side, it must be very difficult for parents who are going through some kind of terminal illness telling their young children about it.
Absolutely.
So,
whether the child is... that's it.
Yeah, and my mum successfully fought breast cancer 2 months ago.
Good
She's been fighting it for a year. And my brother was kind of like my 14-year-old brother. He was 13 at the time she got diagnosed. Now he's 15. He was one of the strongest out of the lot of us. So you never know what a child is capable of.
Audrey, thank you. Let's have another, please.
Sharon's on line 2.
Sharon, good morning.
Good morning.
Have you been in this awful situation?
Yes, our daughter's now 9. She was diagnosed with a very rare disease at the age of just before her 7th birthday.
Right.
She spent 5 weeks in Great Ormond Street, and they treat very, very aggressively. Steroids. She had chemotherapy for 6 months. And we talked through all of her treatment stages with her.
What was the original prognosis? Was it?
She's got a disease called juvenile dermatomyositis.
And the long-term prognosis?
It's very rare, so they just treat with a set regime, and hopefully the disease burns itself out. I mean, she's coming to the tail end of treatment now.
And you told her everything, everything?
Yes, we did, because the treatment they have to go through is so scary. She had muscle biopsies, she had tests, she has now regular blood tests still every 6 weeks. And now she can go to the hospital, and the hospital isn't a scary place. And I agree with everything Craig said. They can help. She's done a pilot scheme for the hospital, testing out, it could be a placebo drug or not. But we talk it through, and she said, yes, if I can help somebody else, she does. You
see, the difference in your case and the case in the Daily Mail is when Rachel had her diagnosis, from what I can gather, and it's not particularly clear, it was basically, well, there's nothing we can do after a sort of minor medical interference. And so she had the 4 years. I mean, they originally expected only to live 6 months. She lived 4 years, and she lived the vast majority of that time without any kind of medical intrusion whatsoever. So, to all intents and purposes, a normal life until she fainted and the cancer had spread entirely within her body. Under those circumstances, if your daughter, and thank God it's not in your daughter's case, if your daughter was facing an almost certain death, and there was no need for any treatment between you being told this situation and the time that she would face death, would you tell her then?
Yes, I would, because the hospitals do try and include them in on their treatment, and I think children are far more resilient than we ever give them credit for.
OK. All right, Sharon, thank you very much. I'll keep my fingers crossed for your daughter as well. It's a great call. We'll have one more, please.
Janice is on line 5.
Janice, good morning.
Good morning.
And I'm guessing here you may have been in this situation as well.
Yeah, I
agree with the previous caller, actually. My son had cancer, and the doctors wanted to tell him.
How old was he, Janice?
He was 12, and I didn't want to tell him, and we had this row, and in the end I told him. But they wanted him to know, because if tracing him, they said he's got to be able to trust us. If he finds out and that we've lied to him, do you know what I mean? And then when he knew, we were able to do things that he wanted to do in the last few months of his life. So it was for all of us. It was better in a way, really, and we were able to say goodbye, and which was nice. I know that's horrible. That sounds horrible, doesn't it?
No, do you know what, Janice? Can't be absolutely honest. Today is the first anniversary of a good friend of mine's death. He just dropped dead, aged 39. That's going through my head. But the thing more than anything else is they're telling me the phones are absolutely filled with people like you. And I'm sitting here thinking, my God, I have a lucky, fortunate life to be spared going through the things that you and your son had to. That's what I'm thinking, Janice.
But, I know it makes me sound a horrible person.
No, it doesn't at all. It's why it's such an interesting debate, because I think ultimately there is no right thing to do, nor is there a wrong thing to do. They're just things, and I think, personally, I'd like to think that I would do the same as you, especially if it's what the doctors counselled. That's not to say that the story in the Daily Mail that the family there had done anything wrong. It's just their choice. It's the thing that I find most touching is that there's just that so many of you out there have been through such a horrible dilemma, and I thank you for all your calls. After the break, light affair. I want to know if you think you should know all about your partner's ex-lovers. Are you slightly weird if you don't even ask? And this is the real germ of it all, can some kind of understanding about what your other half has been through in terms of previous relationships help you have a better relationship with them? Or can it just ruin things? 0207 173 5555 is the number to dial. I wonder, are women keener to know about their partner's exes than men are? We'll find out on the other side of the ads.
What percentage of Brits lie about their sexual history? Is it 4, 34 or 64%? Find out after the ads.